As FBI Director James Comey gets ready to head to Capitol Hill tomorrow to explain his decision not to recommend criminal charges for Hillary Clinton over her email use, Florida Senator Marco Rubio sending a letter to Secretary of State John Kerry saying, quote, the State Department should immediately suspend the clearances of Hillary Clinton, Huma Abedin, Cheryl Mills, and other former State Department employees for security violations if they still maintain them. Joining me now, Florida Senator Marco Rubio. Pleasure to have you on the program, Senator. And
thank you.
This was compelling, significant legal news yesterday. Came as quite a surprise to many when you saw the director laying out quite extensive charges and facts detailing misuse and abuse and certainly security violations on behalf of Secretary of State Hillary Clinton and her staff. Your thoughts?
Well, a lot of people don't realize is beyond the criminality or non-criminality of this, there is the issue of State Department rules. The State Department has rules on all of its employees, on all of its officials about how to handle classified information, and it has very clearly detailed that there are sanctions and punishments for violating those rules. I promise you this. If what we know Hillary Clinton and her staff did had been anybody else in the State Department, they would have been punished, and it would have gone from revoking their security clearance to being fired to everything in between, including long-term, non-paid suspension, etc. So what I'm asking Secretary Kerry to do, this is under his jurisdiction, is to ensure that the appropriate measures are taken to now punish all of these people for their reckless behavior, and that includes Hillary Clinton. Because whether or not the federal government, the Justice Department, finds this to be criminal, there is no doubt that it was negligence, and there is no doubt that it violated State Department policy, and he needs to carry that out and not ignore it for partisan political reasons.
Well, we had Rudy Giuliani yesterday on right after this news broke, and he said that if he was conducting this investigation, just the facts that was listed yesterday would preclude her from gaining any type of security clearance whatsoever moving forward. So how is it that then she's fit to be able to serve as Commander-in-Chief, negotiating, dealing with other countries, foreign interests, and countries that would do us harm?
Well, it's been my argument since this first broke over a year and a half ago that, in fact, this disqualifies her from being the Commander-in-Chief of the United States, and I hope voters will agree on that in November. Here is someone that under normal circumstances would not have the authority. If she was just an employee of the State Department, she would never again be allowed to have access, and her staff would not be allowed to have access. And there is the real potential that these staffers that worked with her at the State Department could be the people working for her now in the White House. So they need, whatever the rules are in the State Department for these violations, John Kerry needs to apply them, and I hope he will, though I'm not holding my breath, to be quite frank with you. But
we'll see what happens, but I think the hearings certainly are going to be significant as well. Now, as you heard Senator President Obama announcing earlier today that he's leaving 8,400 U.S. troops in Afghanistan until the end of his term in January. Now, this is far more than the 5,500 he had previously promised the American people. Do you think this was a good move, and is this number significant to maintain and protect our interests abroad?
Well, two separate questions. Is it a good move? It's better than the alternative, which is what he had planned to do. But it's not enough, and here's why. It's not because we want more troops in Afghanistan. It's if you don't have enough of them, about 10,000 or more, including the military officials, then all they can do is sit around and protect themselves. Their ability to actually go out and conduct operations and assist the Afghans in taking on the Taliban is significantly limited. As that number gets lower, their ability to do anything other than to protect themselves diminishes rapidly. Here's the truth, and everyone knows this. If the United States were to withdraw, according to the schedule Barack Obama created for Afghanistan, the Taliban will overthrow the Afghan government in less than a year and a half. They know this assessment, and I think that's one of the things that led him to make this decision. I wish he had made it sooner, and I wish the number was a little higher so they could protect themselves better.
Yes, it's certainly important to maintain protection of our troops overseas as well that are fighting and serving. But you have on two fronts a resurgent Taliban, and then you have ISIS continuing on the march, but then you have Secretary Kerry saying that they are desperate and that they are in retreat, which doesn't seem to at all coincide with the facts.
Well, the facts are that they're conducting external operations now in a rapid clip, whether it's in Asia and North Africa and Turkey. Obviously, they continue to try to inspire homegrown violent extremists like what we saw in Orlando and earlier in San Bernardino. ISIS is morphing into an organization that still controls territory and is the territory that's now being contested, but they have expanded their ability to conduct external operations that they direct and to inspire external operations in places like Orlando a few weeks ago.
All right, Senator Marco Rubio, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you. Thank you.